Hello and welcome. For China Solved, I'm Andrew Hubert, and this is the China Negotiator, special road edition, so sound quality could be interesting. Today's talk: is China getting hot again, or is it just me? The takeaway: bluster and braggadocio have given way to weary, desperate optimism in the US, but you should be aware of the biggest deal in the history of the world talk, because it just doesn't end well. As a lot of us have found out in China, it's what happens after the deal is signed that really counts. Here's what we're talking about today. Divergence is coming. China managed the US negotiation. Round 2 will be competition for alliances. Divergence is coming. The US has been the global market leader since World War II ended, but it's been particularly strong in recent years. And this means that we set the technical standards and regulatory benchmarks that the rest of the world has to respond to. China and others have followed our technical lead, and in China's case, they even follow our new product development cycle. As the global economy splits into spheres of influence, the US is going to lose leadership in key areas. Within China, the status quo for US companies is collapsing. The status quo before really wasn't that bad. I mean, China did steal intellectual property, and it wasn't a level playing field, but the big international firms that are still in China, like Starbucks and GM and all the fashion houses, they're doing well, or they would have left years ago, like Best Buy and a slew of others. New rules or new applications of existing laws are likely to be less favorable, even though they may look more friendly on the surface. Disruption represents a threat or an opportunity. And in the case of companies that are doing well in China, disruption is going to harm them. And that's why U.S. corporates were noticeably quiet during the trade war, especially those making serious money in China. They know that they're building important markets and brands in China, and that Beijing holds grudges. The silver lining is there may be new opportunities for those who aren't in China yet or have struck out in the past. As far as this negotiation goes, it started out strong for the U.S., but we gave China too much time to readjust. When this trade war started, China was on its back foot. China's existential crisis ended on February 13th when Donald Trump erased the March 1st deadline on raising the tariff level on Chinese goods coming to the U.S. from 10% to 25%. This gave Beijing time to recalibrate its economy at home and to build support both at home and abroad. One of the main causes for this is something I've been telling students and clients about for years, that China manages time more strategically than we do in the United States or in Europe. China effectively stalled the negotiation and turned it from a series of quick sound bites into a long, drawn-out campaign. Competent Chinese negotiators will rush or delay a negotiation as it suits their purposes. You always look out for a lot of activity and a lot of friendly-looking concessions early in the talks, followed by a significant slowdown. And another way to talk about that slowdown is the wear down. Chinese negotiators, especially state-owned enterprises, have mastered the wear down tactic. They repeat the same position over and over and over until the other side just gives up and over-compromises. If it works once, they keep doing it until it stops working, and it's particularly effective when the U.S. side's goal is to come home with a contract, any contract. So let's look out to the future a little bit and talk about the next phase in the trade conflict, and that is going to be competition for spheres of influence and for alliances. New trade alliances will be enabled by an overlapping network of free trade agreements and spheres of influence. There's also going to be a lot of lending, a lot of infrastructure grants, and not just China. The U.S. is going to try to get involved in this too. The U.S. is usually better at projecting soft power than China, but this time may be different. China is gaining support. Beijing is seen as a stable counter to an unstable and frightening United States. The U.S. has been struggling to present a compelling case for anti-Chinese actions to its allies, even in the case of Huawei, which it's been railing against for a decade and looked like it was going to be a pretty easy win. China's OBOR, its AIIB, and internet controls appeal to a wide range of governments, and China has been building support. A loner U.S. will find it hard to build alliances. U.S. is the anti-ally. We dropped out of the TPP on day one, and we are prosecuting trade disputes in Asia, North America, Europe, and Latin America. The present U.S. administration is viewed as a disruptive international force by the present U.S. administration. Final word. In the end, the U.S. will win this negotiation, but the gains will be short-lived and largely illusory. This was a campaign stunt, not a real negotiation. China seems to feel like it's already dodged this bullet. A second-generation Goldman Sachs partner and a Bethlehem Steel lobbyist don't care what happens after the deal is signed. There will be a signing ceremony, we will declare victory, and then it's up to you to get down to the mundane business of building and maintaining market share in a world that's being divided by spheres of influence and market alliances. Thanks very much. I will talk to you soon.